off the sermon this morning with some numbers. These numbers are the following. There's three numbers: 15.2, 16.9, and 3.2. Now, if you have a pen or pencil handy, I want you to take it out and get the front of your bulletin and just write these numbers in a column. My dad used to do this when we were traveling. He'd say, write these numbers down, and I have no idea why, but I always did it, so that's right. 15.2, 16.9, and 3.2. 15.2, 16.9, and 3.2. Now, of course, to understand numbers, we have to know what they mean. So let me explain. First, 15.2. 15.2 is, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, the current percentage of unemployment in the state of Michigan. This percentage is from this past August, and of course does not include possible Saturn closures or the possible school layoffs and all the employees who will be affected by the proposed budget cuts at our county and state levels. 15.2%, that's the first number. Now let's look at the second number, 16.9. 16.9% is the historical highest rate of unemployment ever recorded in the modern era in our state. This number, 16.9%, was recorded, anybody know? Yeah, no, not during the Depression, actually. It was recorded in November of 1982. I well remember that year because, I'm dating myself now, but it was the year before I went to college. And it was also the year that my father lost his job. 16.9%. Now, the third number, 3.2. 3.2 is the percentage, 3.2%, the historical lowest rate of unemployment ever recorded in our state in the modern era. Any guesses when that was recorded? March of 2000. March of 2000. The unemployment rate in March of 2000 in Michigan was 3.2%. This is a remarkable and frightening time in our economy and for all of us. And I want to take a little time today to talk about the fear. Near record unemployment rates cause us to be afraid. Record levels of debt and home foreclosures can cause us to be frightened. Times are hard, and it's understandable why, in these times especially, we might question our faith and feel very afraid. And this fear might lead to cynicism or even panic. However, we would all do well to remember our nation's history. Back in 1933, when this nation was in the midst of the Great Depression. Some of you remember that. When we were in the midst of the Great Depression, Franklin Delano Roosevelt spoke these famous words in his first inaugural address. Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror which paralyzes needed efforts to convert retreat into advance. In every dark hour of our national life, a leadership of frankness and vigor has met with the understanding and support of the people themselves, which is essential to that victory. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And while the current unemployment numbers are frightening, we need to remember that after that 16.9% unemployment in 1982, after that, there came a time of growth and jobs, leading to that point in 2000 when unemployment was at 3.2%. And we also need to remember the fact that by 1985, 3 years after that November highest rate, the unemployment rate in our state that year was 8%, lowered by more than half of what it had been in November of 1982. Now, my point here is that if we take a historical look at the numbers, we can see that with unemployment numbers, the highs eventually do go back down. And with the stock market, we know that the lows eventually come back up. What this means is that while times are difficult for sure, we must not allow ourselves to be controlled by fear, and we must not lose hope. Not only do we have President Roosevelt's words, but also the words from Scripture about finding faith in the midst of financial crisis. Over and over again, the Scriptures and our faith in God reassure us that we are going to be all right. We're going to be all right. Somehow, some way, God will make a way for us. As we've all heard, at the center of the economic crisis we are currently in is this extension and abuse of credit. Credit comes from the Latin word credo, which means I believe or I trust. To extend credit to someone is to believe or trust that he or she will repay. As Christians, our credo or trust is not in money, but in God.